Good morning once again. Dear students, yesterday we had discussed cloud delivery models, isn't it? Right? So there will be a service, and this service will be provided to the customers at three different levels, three fundamental different levels, I can say. And these are nothing but EAS, that is infrastructure as service, PaaS, platform as service, SaaS, software as a service, isn't it? Right? So EAS will be having more focus on providing the IT hardware IT resources, isn't it right? So obviously you will be expecting the cloud consumer to have more and more control over those particular devices or resources. Next, coming on to the PaaS service. PaaS is nothing but it's a kind of ready-made environment that has been provided to the cloud consumers, and hence you can expect a little bit of controls being given to the consumer to change upon the resources. On the other hand, SaaS is entirely different from these two, and SaaS offers its service purely based upon the software entities, and majorly in terms of software components, I can say, or even middleware also at times you can be finding, but most appropriately it is found to be used at the end user point of view only, and hence the cloud consumers will not have much of the control over the resources that have been offered, but at the same time it will be provided to a limited extent in terms of customizing the service, or in terms of administering or else little bit of administrative activities of that particular service, maybe to assign a few privileges or to remove a few privileges or to secure it in a next level. Likewise, kind of very limited, very limited control over the resources that is being shared. Okay, now fine, moving ahead, there is one more kind of model where cloud will be performing, and that kind of model you call it as a deployment model. Deployment model. I think in the last semester we had understood the difference between deployment and installation. I'm not sure how many of you people could recollect it, but I myself have explained you when you call it as a deployment and when you call it as an installation. Both are one and the same, but ideally, the scenario changes as and when the kind of activity is happening between a single system, or if it is happening at a larger level. Usually you call that as an installation when you are performing, or else when you are trying to have one sort of application, making it ready to use. And if you are making it ready to use from a single system, you call that as an installation. But if you want to have this kind of installation across the machines, across the servers, across a large entities, you call that as an deployment. That's the reason in the cloud we never say an application is being installed, or else a service being installed, or else a service is any entity, any cloud entity for that matter. You never say that it is being installed. Instead, you call it as an deployed. It is being deployed. Okay, so deploy in the sense making, of course, making the network, or else making more number of resources ready for attaining certain functionality with a common motive. Okay, so though this sounds a little bit technically, but you people have to understand that term deployment in a proper sense for better understanding of this deployment models. If you understand what is deployment, then automatically you can realize the importance of having various deployment models. Got it. So you could see that IT resources are being catered in terms of a service, and this service is being offered in various uh, models, various delivery models for that matter. Okay, now how these models are being made available for made available for the consumer. How these delivery models are being made available. See, I'm telling that I have infrastructure as a service being given to a consumer, and as a consumer, yes, definitely he can be take it up. He can be consuming it up. I can tell that, and I can say that all the thing what the consumer will be needing is he just needs an internet and access privileges to control upon those particular devices. I can just like that I can tell, but technically, thinking technically, how this is possible, how this could be made possible, how this could be made possible, like we need to understand that. Okay? We need to understand how technical it is possible. Technically, whatever is the service, whether it is EAS, PaaS, or SaaS, or any other subsidiary service I can call, you can name a service, and all that particular service has to be deployed in the cloud. Deployed in the cloud. Okay, so that means they should be first made available in the cloud. See, if you have a small application, as I told, you'll be calling it as an installed. You will be installing it, but it is a large level of environment is being included. More number of resources are being included, and that too, these the things, the services what has to be considered. Okay, so even those are not made completely end user consumption point of view. Okay, so hence deployment is the appropriate word for us to use here when we talk about the services being made ready for the consumers. Okay, so you should be deploying it. You should be deploying it. Now, when it comes to the method of deployment, you call it as a model of deployment as well. Okay, so it has to be deployed in a proper sense. It has to be deployed in a proper sense. Why? Because the cloud not only offers these kind of services to one single customer, but it can be offering to many consumers. But at the same time, it has to take care that the data between these customers are not overlapping, or data is not under security breach, or you respect your own privacy, isn't it? Right? It is as similar as you people might have known that uploading videos in YouTube. Okay, I think many of you people would have done it. I bet on that. And if you did not upload it, okay, you just go and try once. You just go and try once and see the options what you get while uploading that video. Okay, while uploading that video. So you could see at one step, you could see something called as licensing component. Licensing component. Whether this video should be visible to all the public, or it is to the private, or it is to certain people. That means dedicated people, or any other mode. So what exactly the YouTube wants is, well, you are uploading certain data with us, and tell us how I should make it available to the outside world. How I should make it available. Whether it should be made available public, that means anyone can access that particular what to say video. Okay, and I mean, if it is shared with a link, or if it is not shared with a link, or if it is just a video is found over there, yes, anyone can go on see that if you had marked it as a public. Similarly, you can mark it as private. You can mark it as private in the sense there will be a dedicated community people, or else a dedicated group of people for that matter. Okay, so only the people who are subscribed to that, okay, so will be able to view those particular videos. So for example, I have my own channel at this point of time. Okay, and I'm uploading all the lecture videos, isn't it, right? So these videos, okay, these videos, if I make it private, and the people who are subscribed to my channel only can have access to see that particular video. You got it? Okay, that's about the private. Similarly, you can have another one. Anyone who has the link can see this video. That means the video is accessible only through the link. If the link is not being given, and still you could see the video thumbnail over there, and if you try to access that, no, you cannot see that. You cannot see that, like, like the kind of recommendations you will be getting from the YouTube. Okay, you'll be watching one video, and on the right hand side you could see video recommendations, isn't it, right? So though if you see my video there, but still if you don't have a link, uh, then a link in the sense, it's a separate link. Of course, as a recommendation is being shown, and you can copy that link very well, but I don't think so you can be seeing it when you directly access it, when you try to directly access it, like, and I am embedding all those videos in Canvas instructor, isn't it, right? So you could directly click on that link, and you could just see that video. But that is not the case if you don't have the link. Though you have access to YouTube, these things will be stopping. I mean, YouTube will be stopping. Okay, so this is what is the kind of control what YouTube is trying to provide you people about your data. Similarly, when you talk about certain service, okay, definitely, as a cloud provider, you need to ensure that how that particular service has to be made available okay. So in this regard, you can see that there are 4 deployment models being identified. Okay, but the list is not stopping over here. You can see many other deployment kind of models as well. But what I would like to tell is, these are the basic models. These are the basic deployment models. Okay, and these deployment models are public cloud, community cloud, private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. Most probably the names are self-revealing about what kind of cloud it is, and to an extent we will see how far these are characterized, and what happens exactly, and what could be the possible things that can happen in these kind of deployment models. So to start with, first we'll go with the public cloud. As I told, the name itself is self-revealing, and public cloud is accessible by any person who has access to the cloud. It is as simple as that. Okay, I'm a subscriber to YouTube, and I have right to see any public video. It is quite equivalent to that. Okay, so in fact, YouTube is also a cloud kind of thing. Okay, and whatever you are claiming, okay, your videos and all other things are your own entities. The YouTube is a perfect example for trying to understand the kind of deployment levels. Okay, so public cloud, as it were, anyone who has the access, okay, they can go and access the resources in the cloud. Okay, but provided these environments in the cloud will be owned by a third party. They will be owned by a third party. Say, like, I have many number of channels in the YouTube. Okay, so YouTube is a owner, that is Google is the owner of that particular YouTube. Okay, that particular space, and in that space I have third party channels, what I call as a third party providers, isn't it, right? So these providers, I am the one who are trying to make the videos. Okay, so I create one particular channel, and I claim that I have the ownership on this particular channel. I have ownership on this particular channel, but at the same time, okay, uh, the data that is available in this particular channel can be accessible by any other person who has right privileges, or not WRITE, but it is correct privileges, I should say, or else appropriate privileges to access the YouTube cloud. Okay, so in that level, you can consider the public clouds. In that level, you can consider the public clouds. In other sense, if I deploy a service in public cloud, then it can be accessible by anyone who has appropriate access to the cloud. You got it? You got it? Okay, that's how it is. One another example I would like to give is the search engines. the search engine. Search engine is also again a service that is being deployed and made available for end users and anyone who has a browser on his mobile. Okay, so they can do the search. They can do the search. For that matter, if they even type the wrong URL also, automatically if the URL is not found, automatically it is converted as a keyword and it will be running into the search engine. That means any Tom, Dick and Harry can go and consume that particular service. That's the kind of freedom. I exactly don't say the word freedom, but it's a kind of freedom anyone can have to the public cloud. Okay. And most importantly, the IT resources on public cloud are usually provisioned through previously described delivery models. That is, we have to understand. See, till now we were telling that the deployment will be happening, but deployment of what? Deployment of delivery model. Deployment of delivery model. Definitely it should be the, you know, IT resources are to be delivered in proper models, and these delivery models are to be properly deployed. That's what it all means. Okay. So in the figure on the right hand side of the slide, you can see that there are many organizations like Microsoft, and very often we call this Microsoft and Amazon and Yahoo, Salesforce, Rackspace, Google. All these are all public clouds. All these are very much public clouds. Okay, you can access them, you can open them, you can see any kind of service over there. Okay, see, though, okay, let us assume you opened a yahoo.com, okay, and you can see many options being offered to you. Like you can go and look for news, you can go and look for entertainment, you can go and look for weather forecast, and you can go and look for trending entities. These all these things, isn't it, right? So remember, each one of that function is a different service. If you call for weather forecast, it will be triggering some other service and it will be fetching data from that particular service. If you look for an entertainment, then automatically some other service is being tapped and that service will fetch the data for you. You got it, okay? And that's the reason these services will have certain amount of intelligence. And when you very often visit those particular pages, automatically with the intelligence prompting, with the intelligence prompting, you could be maintaining previous history as well, and you could get certain recommendations as well. Even the recommendations and history is also a type of service. That's the beauty of the cloud. Now, moving on to the second type of deployment model, that is community cloud. So in the YouTube, if you remember, I had told an example that I upload a video, but I don't want all the persons to see that video, but I want only my class students to see that video. So I create a link for that, and I upload the video in such a sense that this video is only visible if they have the link. That means I'm dedicatedly doing this thing. Okay, right? And for this particular link also, I should have the proper subscription. Then only I'm supposed to see that video. That's how I give the privileges to that particular video. That means this community cloud is also similar to that kind of thing, okay, which means that you can see that it is very much similar to that of public cloud, but only the thing is, it will not be visible to all the persons, but it will be visible only to their subscribers. It will be visible only to their subscribers. That means it's a kind of intranet. But provided with the public privileges. Right? Okay, so probably like if you are looking into uh, what to say, one more example I would like to quote, like e-commerce websites. Okay, e-commerce website. Okay, when you are trying to search for certain commodity or something, any object, okay, the search result will be showing across the globe. That means, say for example, I'm looking for one particular Apple iPhone, I guess. Let us assume in that sense. Okay, I'm searching in Google that I want to purchase this Apple phone, where I can get. Then immediately search results will be showing for me that I can buy in Amazon, I can buy in Apple Store, I can buy in Flipkart. Let me see a little bit carefully. Okay, I have Amazon account and let me go for Amazon. And if I click on that, the search result, then it will be taking me to Amazon.com, which is not an local Indian site. Local Indian site. It means based upon the location, if you want to have the access to Amazon, your link should be amazon.in, not amazon.com. Okay, fine, no, not a problem. And you go to that amazon.com site and you see the product being listed over there. And when you try for purchasing it, you find it to be purchased in terms of dollars, and the delivery modes or else the delivery locations being shown over there is out of the country, that is only in the United States. You got it. Okay, so here still that particular Amazon application is being accessible through the globe, but provided it is limited to certain community only. Okay, so immediately what Amazon does is Amazon recognizes the service request location, that is from which IP this service request has been coming. And immediately you can find a recommendation that seems that you have visited you have not visited the site that belongs to India. They want to see the same product in Indian website. Yes, if you click yes, then automatically you will be shown the same product, of course, the relevant product, or else the same product in the Indian website, that is in amazon.in, where you can see the product description and all other things on the product entities, or else product selling is being happening in INR, and the delivery locations are available within the India. You got it? Okay. So that is the community cloud. Though it has been very much public, but it is dedicated for certain type of community or a certain type of special privileged persons, I mean to say. And those communities are made based upon like-minded business, or as common motive functioning people. These kind of communities will be formed, and accordingly the public cloud will be used for the uh, community clouds as well. Okay, so that's about community deployment model. Going on to the third one, that is private cloud. This is entirely private. This is not open to the public, which means that it is not also open to the community. It is not also open to the community. So when you are working for larger organizations, especially when you are in what to say, corporate entities, you could see that you could see that you have a separate intranet network. Intranet network, in the sense within the organization you follow a certain amount of network, but still you can be you can you should be able to access it from anywhere or any part of the country. That's a different story. Okay, for that matter. Okay, say okay, here I will go with an example. Let us take a Dell organization. We all know that Dell sells laptops. Okay, let us assume Dell have certain sales. Okay, so definitely it should be maintaining its own website that is available for the public, isn't it? Right. So in the public site, you can have those particular lists. But apart from that, it has a separate website for its own people, its employment, its employees. They can purchase. Okay, so of course they have every right to go and choose the appropriate laptop in the public, and purchase that laptop as any other public person, isn't it? Right. But apart from that, to gain certain privileges, there will be a separate website within the network of the Dell only. Those options are not shown outside world. That is entirely private. That is entirely private. You got it? Okay. So that's how. Until or unless the person steps into the Dell network, okay, he will not be able to see. He will not be able to see this private, what to say, shopping arena. So in that shopping arena, probably he might be offered with more number of percentage, or else more number of more varieties of systems are being offered according to the kind of privilege that is being given to the Dell employee. That's a different story. Okay, let's not worry about it. And what I want you people to really observe from this example is, though you can have certain things in a public manner, but there are few services that has to be deployed on a highly controllable manner, and definitely those services are to be deployed in private clouds. So the cloud provider will dedicate certain amount of space for this organization, and all the network accessibility to that particular separate space uh, is separately maintained, and it will be safeguarded according to the SLAs. And you call such private what to say, such a separate storage space or such cloud space, you call that as an private cloud. And in this private cloud, all the services that are to be run in, that are that can be accessible only on special privilege, will be deployed on this particular private clouds. Best example is, even you can see in the banks, isn't it, right? So banks have definitely public services are running in public cloud, where you can directly go for net banking. But approving authority, which will be done only by the bank managers or some presiding officers who are supposed to do that responsibility, or discharge that responsibility. Okay, so they have separate services, and you will not be, as a layman person, you cannot be seeing that service being available, isn't it, right? So that is available only for that particular dedicated login, only for that dedicated person. You can see that, isn't it? So that's how the private cloud deployment you can be observing. Literally, there is a comment telling that it is again on-premise, but at the cloud. If you remember what is on-premise, that is nothing but organizational network I had told you, and this organizational network will be in terms of private entity, isn't it, right? No outer can have the access to that particular entity, isn't it, right? So if you remember, on-premise and off-premise, I had told you. On-premise is nothing but organizational network. Off-premise, I had told you the cloud network. So private cloud resembles something like on-premise network, but on a cloud environment. That's about the private cloud. Now, other cloud left as part of the common deployment models is the hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud can be a combination of previously described deployment models. That means you can observe that an organization might be needing all the three types, that is public, community, and private, or it might be needing only private, or it might be needing a combination of private and public. These combinations can be achieved. And if you are deploying your application or services in multiple deployment models, then you could call that type of deployment as an hybrid cloud deployment. Okay, there will not be one single deployment. You could find public deployment model. You could find community if required, and you could find all the three as well, for that matter. Okay, so it's very simple. Hybrid is nothing but all the combination of all the deployment models. Okay. And apart from that, you can have, though it is very much similar to private cloud, you can call it as virtual private cloud. In other words, it is called as hosted cloud. Hosted cloud. So this is nothing but a virtualized environment in the cloud itself, but it is not a public one. Though you have a certain environment in the public, and that particular environment has virtual objects, and these virtual objects are called as the virtual objects that are being privately being accessed. Remember, in the public cloud, there are certain virtual objects being created. that is virtual IT resources are being created, and if these virtual resources are accessible only by the private set of people, then you call that as an dedicated cloud or exclusively hosted for certain activities. Exclusively hosted for certain activities. Okay, usually these are all typical subset models of the common models, subset models of common models. Okay, and similarly there can be interconnectivity clouds, like cloud A is there and cloud B is there. You cannot directly connect in cloud A with cloud B, so there should be some other cloud in between, like cloud C, where this cloud C will be connecting cloud A and cloud B. Remember, I am talking the interconnectivity of the clouds as well. I'm not talking the connectivity of networks. I'm talking the connectivity between clouds. I call that as an intercloud model, intercloud deployment model. You got it? So this is about the deployment models. Okay. So with this, we are almost we are done with the second unit as well. And here, next 3 slides, you can uh, have the summary of entire unit. That means this talks about the roles, boundaries, what to say, deployment models and delivery models. Okay. So, dear students, I want to stress upon one thing: never confuse between these two models. Never confuse between delivery model and a deployment model. Remember, delivery models are three, and you call them as fundamental delivery models. They are EAS, PaaS, and SaaS. Whereas when it comes to the deployment models, you could see common deployment models as four. They are public, community, private, and the hybrid one. Okay, so often I find students getting confused among these two. Okay, and when such a question asked, like if I ask for deployment model, few people end up writing the delivery models, and vice versa. And I had seen few students also mixing both of these two. Okay, so don't get confused, don't get confused. You go through this in a proper sense, and I am sure that you can understand. So I am stopping here this class, and